at AmericanFamilyStudios.net.
This is American Family Radio, a listener-supported ministry of the American Family Association.
American Family News, I'm Bronson Woodruff. President Trump and Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker remain at odds over the president's plans to deploy federal troops to Chicago. The White House claims it's about fighting crime, but the governor has insisted there's no need for any troops to be deployed into the city, and that President Trump is planning to interfere and prevent a fair election in the upcoming 2026 midterms. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth argues they only are trying to deal with violent crime and tells Fox and Friends it's the governor who's been playing politics with his city and residents.
He should be welcoming support. He should be welcoming outside efforts to come alongside him, just as, frankly, the mayor of Washington mostly has. So he's playing a shell game. It's a charade. He knows that his city's out of control. It's the president's decision when on Chicago and what the scale looks like.
Chicago police data shows violent crime is down about 13% so far this year, with shootings, murders, and robberies all down by more than 30% compared to last year. This is also going on in other states. President Trump's announcement that he is deploying the National Guard to Baltimore, Maryland to fight crime is getting pushback from state and city leaders. Here's Fox's Tanya J. Powers.
Baltimore could soon join the list of cities with National Guard troops sent in by President Trump. A spokesman for Maryland Governor Wes Moore told Fox 45 News, quote, "The use of the National Guard for municipal policing is theatrical and not sustainable," pointing out that President Trump has cut hundreds of millions of dollars from public safety programs. Moore has invited the president to visit Baltimore for a public safety walk, with Trump responding, "Clean up this crime disaster." This week, Baltimore Mayor Brandon Scott pointed to an almost 30% drop in homicides compared to this time in 2024 and said the city needs federal agents to work with the police, not the help of the National Guard. Tanya J. Powers, Fox News.
The House Oversight Committee says it will pick up its investigation into former President Biden's alleged mental decline while in office. Former White House Deputy Assistant Andrew Bates is scheduled to sit down for an interview on Friday, with former White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre and former White House Chief of Staff Jeff Zients set to testify later this month. Committee Chairman James Comer joined Fox and said the interviews conducted so far suggest the former president had no clue about the pardons and executive orders he was signing.
There was clearly a cover-up of Joe Biden's mental decline. What we're trying to get down to is the specific instances when Joe Biden's signature was used on the auto pen.
The former president has denied those allegations, saying Republicans are just trying to distract from their unpopular economic agenda. Several former Biden officials have pleaded the fifth when brought in for questioning. But Comer says the interviews may not stop anytime soon and suggested last month that they might subpoena former First Lady Jill Biden and former Vice President Kamala Harris. The Israel Defense Force is calling up 60,000 military reservists in anticipation of taking over Gaza City, one of the last strongholds of Hamas terrorists. AFR's John Riley reports from Israel.
I spoke to Amir Sarfati, the founder of Behold Israel. He says there is something the world does not understand when it comes to the war in Gaza.
We're talking about every other house in Gaza has a shaft into a terror tunnel. Nowhere on planet Earth, anywhere in the world, we see a civilian populated area that is so infested with terror infrastructure under the ground. It's bigger than the metro of London or New York. I mean, you would walk on top, on the surface, thinking they're gone. There's thousands of them under the ground, heavily armored, well-nourished, and they are stealing all the UN aid that is coming in, and the UN is admitting. So basically, the only way to eventually decapitate Hamas is to go in, destroy the infrastructure, either let them surrender or kill the terrorists that are threatening us, and remove it from power.
I'm John Riley, reporting from northern Israel.
President Trump says the U.S. Space Command will be located in Alabama. This reverses a Biden-era decision to keep it at its temporary headquarters in Colorado. Huntsville, Alabama is nicknamed Rocket City. The Army's Space and Missile Defense Command is also located in Huntsville. You can find more news online at afn.net. For American Family News, I'm Bronson Woodruff.
I'm Dr. Ray Rooney.
The mission of American Family Association is to inform, equip, and activate individuals and families to strengthen the moral foundations of American culture and give aid to the church, here and abroad, in its task of fulfilling the Great Commission. AFA aims to evangelize the lost and disciple the believer.
Thank you for standing with the American Family Association as we seek to stop the erosion of godly values.
Welcome to Today's Issues, offering a Christian response to the issues of the day. Here's your host, Tim Wildmon, President of the American Family Association.
Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Today's Issues on the American Family Radio Network. Thanks for listening to AFR on this Wednesday, September the 3rd, 2025, and we appreciate your listenership. Joining me in studio is Ed Vitagliano. Good morning, Brother Ed.
Good morning, Tim.
And Wesley Wildmon.
And morning.
Good morning, Brother Wesley. Brother Fred.
Hey.
It's just a brotherly day right here.
How you doing?
Fred? Fred Jackson?
Good to be here.
Yeah, you going to Canada this summer? Or
no, not this
summer's
summer.
gone, I guess.
Yeah, pretty well.
But when are you going home to see the folks?
See the family back home? Probably next spring.
Okay.
I wait for lobster season.
Okay.
That's perfect.
Oh, there is a thing called lobster season?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're only allowed to. Well,
so really,
the lobster trees are in bloom, usually in the spring.
Ed, for a man from Boston, you don't know too much about the lobster industry, do you? So, anyway, so you still getting the lobster shipped to your house there? What?
We had it this past weekend.
I got to do that.
Yeah,
I don't know why. I keep forgetting.
How often do you do that?
This is twice this year that we've done it, and I tell you, it's really they're very fresh.
Yeah.
They ship overnight. They leave the Northeast at 5 o'clock at night, and you've got it the next afternoon at your house here.
Do the lobsters know that they're doomed?
Oh, these are uncooked?
Oh, no.
They're live?
This is cooked meat.
Okay.
You're only
okay.
You're only
They've already
the
hit
lobster
the dust.
Meat. Yes.
Okay.
No.
He didn't have to break the news. Someone else had to.
Right.
Yes.
The little friendly lobsters don't arrive thinking they're going to be somebody's pet.
That's right. Yeah.
Because I
they're already gone.
misunderstood when he was telling us about this, or was it was you? I think
Yeah.
Fred.
Yeah, Fred.
And I told my wife, because I was all excited, because I haven't had lobster since I've been up north, and we thought that it was live lobsters.
Oh, no.
And she said, well, enjoy it, because I'm not cooking it. Because she cannot stand
Seeing how the sausage is made?
Yes, animal suffering. So, my mom used to, lobsters were very cheap when I was growing up. You could get them fairly cheap. And every once in a while, they'd spring, and they'd take those kind of greenback lobsters and put them in the boiling pot.
Yeah.
And, that one time, one grabbed the sides of the pot and said, don't do it. Shook me up. But,
well, if you go in Red Lobster, you can see them in the fish boat, in the aquarium. Yeah.
Pick them out.
Yeah, they're just walking around thinking
'em out.
everything's fine.
No, not that one.
Hey.
No,
no,
not
me.
that one.
Him, this one.
Anyway, that's pretty cool that you can have fresh lobster shipped to you from New England to Mississippi overnight and have it ready to go.
It is, and it's 2 pounds of lobster meat. I mean, you're not getting any shell at all.
Right.
It's 2 pounds.
Oh,
of
wow.
lobster.
Okay. I'm going to do that myself.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All right. What does that run you like? $100, $200?
About 130 or so.
Including shipping?
Yes.
And then
What
you
about
can-
handling?
And then when it's all done, Fred's going to be growing lobsters in his backyard.
Oh, you can grow lobsters in your backyard?
I was just kidding about that, Wesley. I appeared to have misinformed you.
All right, you're listening to Today's Issues on American Family Radio. We thank you for listening. Tim, Ed, Wesley, and Fred, and we're fixing to bring the news.
We're bringing it.
We're bringing it. And Fred, what's the first story?
Well, yesterday, President Trump had a big news conference announcing that Huntsville, Alabama was going to become the home of Space Command. But in the midst, as he does, he takes questions from the reporters that are gathered. And in the midst of all that, he made an announcement. He said, just before coming out here, I got news, and you guys are going to learn about it. He told the reporters that the United States military had just taken out a boat. He called it a boat coming out of Venezuela with drugs. And our military took that boat out, killed 11 bad guys. They call them narco-terrorists. So the Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, was asked all about this morning. This is what he had to say. Cut 5.
In that boat, we knew exactly what they were doing, and we knew exactly who they represented. And that was Tren de Aragua, a narco-terrorist organization designated by the United States, trying to poison our country with illicit drugs. Last year, under the Biden administration, all 4 years, 100,000 Americans died from drug-related from drugs, from the use of drugs, many of which poured in from Central and South America through our southwest border. Now, we're sealing the border, but President Trump is willing to go on offense in ways that others have not been, and to send that clear signal to Tren de Aragua, Cartel del Sols, and others emanating from Venezuela. We're not going to allow this kind of activity. You're poisoning our people. We've got incredible assets, and they are gathering in the region. And so you want to try to traffic drugs, it's a new day. It's a different day. And so those 11 drug traffickers are no longer with us.
Yeah, and so we had the announcement back about 10 days ago that our military were going to station at least 3 of our destroyers off the coast of Venezuela. Since the president made this announcement yesterday afternoon, they've released a video. The Pentagon has released a video of this boat being taken out. It looks like perhaps a drone was used, a dead hit on this boat. We saw it wasn't a big boat. There were 11 people in it, speeding along, we assume, towards the United States.
Where was it?
Off the coast of Venezuela, international waters. So quite dramatic, but, there are some people saying maybe it wasn't a great idea because there might be some concerns that you're opening the door for other countries to do the same.
It's the next phase in border control.
Boy, is it ever.
Phase 5.
Okay, I'm with
you, Ed.
I'm going to take an unpopular view.
Yeah, I'm with you, brother.
Here.
Let's hold hands, okay? We're in this together. Because
Okay.
we're about to get lambasted by our listeners.
Let's metaphorically hold hands. We
Yeah,
are on
that's
camera.
That's kind of feminine.
And
You're
watch me remain quiet.
Yeah, I don't want to. I meant join hearts, Ed.
All right, and we're going to probably split the audience, and we're already split on this panel. We talked about this in the story meeting.
I'm not saying
I don't like this. Okay, I have concerns about this, and here they are. First of all, I want to trust our intelligence agencies and think they can't make mistakes, but we thought that there were weapons of mass destruction in Iraq, and we were in Iraq for 20 years over a war. Sometimes intelligence agents are wrong. If we absolutely know for sure these are narco-terrorists, I'm a little more open to the idea.
What's a narco-terrorist, if you can define that for us?
Well, since the Trump administration declared that these drug cartels are terrorist organizations, then their efforts to bring drugs into this country is a form of terrorist threat to our people. I think that's why they call it narco-terrorists. I'm a little more open to it, but here's the thing. This is an execution. We executed people without a trial, and I hope we don't make any mistakes. I think the better route would be if we were sure these are narco-terrorists, then where's the Coast Guard? Why don't we interdict the boat and intercept the boat and arrest the people and put them in prison? And then I also have concerns because Venezuela is Maduro. He's a communist. he may decide to open fire on U.S. ships and claim that he's just doing what Trump is doing. I wouldn't say this is a lawless act, but law was not involved. This is a military attack on citizens of another country, and I just have grave concerns. And I know, open it up. I'm sure some of the people who are listening are saying, Ed's in favor of protecting drug dealers. No, I'm not a Democrat. Okay? So
in a blue, you're not a Democrat in a blue city, right?
That's right. So anyway, those are some of my concerns about this.
Wesley, do you want to share your heart?
So based on the information that we have, I don't believe if the information they have is true, I don't believe they deserve a trial or to be arrested or to be put in prison for us to be able to spend taxpayer dollars and
blow them out of the water.
They made that choice when they became terrorists. When you become a narco terrorist, you give up that right of being able to. That's my position.
Live.
Yep, you do. Because when you enter into the lifestyle of narco terrorism, you give up your right. That's what I believe.
Okay. I hear you.
And now I'm not saying I'm also not saying there's not other alternatives, but I'm not sad or disappointed that we took out narco terrorism.
Yeah. Okay. I gotta go with Ed. Soft pinky. Soft pinko.
By the way, remember that, again, these are internationals. These are not American citizens. So it's not like somebody in Detroit was moving drugs from Detroit to a bigger city and we just shot them out of the sky.
Okay, think about what we're doing here, and then we can move on. I don't know if there's any ultimate right and wrong here. I'm just saying to you, I don't like it. I don't like the way it looks. We're using the United States military to blow ships out of the water in international seas.
I bet they won't do it again for a while.
Who won't do what?
I bet you'll get less international narco terrorism for the next 6 months to a year.
You may be right.
Yep, and that's how war works.
You could do the same thing in Detroit.
Yeah,
you could really put the clamps down on crime.
Send the National Guard, right?
Open fire. Okay, go ahead, Tim and Fred.
Do y'all care what I?
Oh, I do. I care what you think.
Because I don't interrupt others. So what? So I don't like to be interrupted if I don't interrupt others.
You're right. You're right.
I do unto others. So I'm just saying, before you say, give them heck, Trump, you need to be careful because you're using United States military assets in international waters to carry out a unilateral, by unilateral I mean president alone, I guess, with maybe Secretary Pete Hegseth, and you say fire. Well, you know what that blows that ship up.
International.
I don't know. Am I going to get finished or not?
Where would you do it? No. If you're going to say that, if you're going to say international, where would you do it? Would you do it in Venezuela? Would you do it in the United States? International, when you're abroad, that's the best place to do it.
I've already told you I'm soft on.
I'd like to hear what you have to say, Tim.
Why, you think I'm trapped?
No.
Right there?
No, I just...
you would think your family member would be. You would think your family member would be with you.
Well, my son doesn't agree with me, so why should yours agree with you?
All right, listen, we'll move on here. Like I said, I when I first heard about this, I was going, what? So I haven't processed this 100%. Probably like all of us here, you're going, well, I don't know about that. But I would prefer that if we're going to get these drug cartels, you get them with the Coast Guard. You intercept them coming into American our what do you call it? Seashore, sea line. I don't like jets flying around the Gulf blowing boats out of the water and killing them.
I don't think they were speeding though. I don't think they were breaking the law there.
Okay, what? Let me ask you this: what if 2 days from now they come back and say, "We're sorry, we made a mistake. The ship was like a mile behind. We intended to hit this ship." And we apologize to the fishermen, to the families, there who died in the.
That didn't okay. That's fun. We can do that game because that doesn't change my position. That if it was the right boat, I'm still okay with it. I think if they get it wrong from an intelligence standpoint,
all right,
that's different. I think
Fred wants to weigh in here.
No,
Fred, go ahead.
I just have a question for you guys.
Okay.
What is the difference?
You mean you make
to the commie lovers?
What is the difference between what the U.S. military did yesterday with that boat and what we did a few weeks ago in Iran?
You mean blowing up the nuclear? There's essentially no difference.
I'll beg to differ.
Well, no, I'm saying in terms of us not going through a legal channel. We attacked another country, and
that was not attacking us.
It was not attacking us. I don't think there is any difference in terms of that. What I'm saying is you've got to count the cost. If you're going to do something like this, you have to count the potential cost. I'm not sure there is a potential cost with Iran, but what if Tren de Aragua, I forget how you pronounce it. What if they say, you attacked our people, you guys in America are the ones buying the drugs, so we're going to attack your citizens. You've declared war on us.
Where?
In the United States.
Well,
I'm just because
it wouldn't last long.
Well, maybe, but
sure.
Americans would die because we unilaterally decided these people are guilty enough to die on the high seas.
That's a hypothetical.
That to me, that is a little bit different than taking out facilities, even though the intent was to take out facilities.
Well, we have been threatened by Iran.
Yes.
We've been threatened verbally over and over again by Iran. So this isn't something that was done without a
provocation.
It's a case by case. It's hard to find a perfect analogy.
I'm just saying, when China blows a Taiwanese boat out of the water this afternoon down around the Philippines, and they go, they were carrying drugs that was coming into China. I don't think U.S. is not going to have any right to say no. You shouldn't be doing that.
I agree.
Yeah.
Well, if you agree, you're agreeing with me on the U.S. shouldn't be doing that out in the middle of the ocean.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. No, I'm agreeing that if China says, first of all, this is a hypothetical because I hold to my position on what happened in real life.
But hypotheticals are important in determining consequences to your actions. So.
Okay, so back to the China illustration. If China says that they have intelligence that says that they believe that this boat is a narco-terrorist organization that's coming into China and they blow it up in international waters, I don't have a problem with that.
Okay. All right.
And by the way,
talking about the Wild Wild West out there on
no,
on the high
I'm
seas.
talking about military protecting its citizens.
Okay,
that's what I'm talking about. Military.
Right, next story, Fred.
Okay. And I, folks who are
we have irreconcilable differences.
I hope we have divided your households.
Yes. Military. What good is the military if it can't protect its own national?
That's right.
Security?
Military should be fighting. Oh, never. All right.
We need to go into Mexico.
I didn't say go into.
Well, for another non-controversial subject.
Go out there in the Gulf of America then.
Yeah. As is often the case when President Trump has an announcement about something, as he did yesterday about Space Command going to Huntsville, he wanders over and talks about other things. And yesterday...
No, Trump?
Yeah, he does that a lot. And that's what makes the news. And so yesterday, in the midst, he asked reporters, you guys got any questions? Well, of course they do.
Yeah, sure.
When are you going to send troops into Chicago? And the president had an answer for them, cut number 3.
I didn't say when we're going in. When you lose, look, I have an obligation. This isn't a political thing. I have an obligation. When we lose, when 20 people are killed over the last 2.5 weeks, and 75 are shot with bullets. There's no place in the world, including you can go to Afghanistan, you can go to places that you would think of. They don't even come close to this. I would love to have him call. I would love the governor of Illinois. I'd be honored to take his call. All he has to do is say, sir, we need help. It's out of control. And everyone knows it is. He's not kidding anyone.
Now, at the first of that cut, he said, I'm not saying when we're going to do it. but he prefaced the whole response by saying, "We are going in."
To Chicago?
Unequivocally, he said, "We are going in. I'm not going to say when." Now, needless to say,
Going in with what?
soldiers.
National Guard.
Yep.
No, you're kidding me.
No, sir.
He said we're going in.
He said, "We're going in, but as you said, I'm not going to say when."
Now, he's not talking about, I'm with him on ICE.
Right.
Oh,
right.
yeah.
That's for sure. Yeah.
But I'm totally against sending the National Guard. Wesley's probably with him. Were you with him, Wesley?
On
Sending the National Guard in to protect our citizens.
Well, the good news is, if you think you're going to get me,
Yeah.
I'm already on the record on today's issue saying that I think that, well, it's not as much as what I think should happen. It's the Constitution doesn't allow for it.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. But now again, we said this was gonna. You called this yesterday.
Yeah.
You said this was gonna happen. That he's gonna troll them by saying that
You think he's trolling?
It's just as much trolling as anything, because here's what can happen. He could get asked to, in 3 or 4 weeks from now, he could get asked to.
Yeah.
And then he can come back and say, "I told you. I said we're going in."
Yeah.
So
yeah, but I don't think the governor of Illinois or the mayor of Chicago are going to ask him to do.
They may not any more than the Washington D.C. Mayor did, but eventually she came around.
But that was a federal city.
Yeah.
I don't think he can legally do it without being asked by the mayor or by the governor.
Short of some sort of national emergency.
That's going to be his. He's going to host
and
a rally.
That's what he's saying. He's saying this is an emergency. I don't think he can get away with that.
No, not what should be handled by the law, the citizens of Chicago themselves through their elected officials. You can't just have a president sending in federal troops.
Yeah.
To do police work. The city's not burning down. Okay.
Right. You're not having to restore order on that scale.
Right. Yeah. So anyway, we'll see what happens here, but I think he's going to lose the vast majority of conservatives on this one. Trump is. If he says, "I'm sending National Guardsmen from Tennessee up to patrol the streets of Chicago,"
without cooperating with the Chicago Police Department, you can't do that.
You can't do that.
I don't. And by the way, folks, please don't. I
don't email you.
No, don't email me. I love 98% of what Donald Trump is doing as president. I'm a huge fan of what he's been doing, but you cannot. It's illegal.
Well,
the Posse Comitatus Act forbids federal troops from doing law enforcement duties unless it is in conjunction backing up the police department. And if the police department via the mayor says we don't want you, then it is illegal. The federal troops cannot occupy a city for law enforcement purposes.
Is that what Trump's talking about? That sounds like what he's talking about.
He says, "Yes, we're going in. I'm not going to say when."
Is anybody on his team saying this is a bad idea?
Not publicly. They're not saying it.
Right.
Not
All right.
publicly.
It may be like Wesley's saying. He may be trolling them a little bit to get the conversation, or keep the conversation going, because Chicago, over this long weekend,
over 50 shootings.
That's horrifying.
And in the last 12 hours, there have been 7 more shootings. Now, Pritzker, the governor, says we don't have a crime problem. What somebody suggested is that Trump should hold a news conference in Chicago.
That's what Tim suggested.
Is that right?
That was my idea.
And then and maybe after we come back from the break, there's a bunch of Chicago residents now that's saying we have a huge crime problem. We need President Trump to do something.
It's clear that policies in Chicago and in the state of Illinois are not strong enough on crime, and this is why this is a serious problem. So I think, do you have some sound from Chicago residents?
I do.
When we come back after the break, we do have a guest.
We do.
We're going to have, so we may have to push this later on in the program. But I'd like to hear from some of these Chicago residents. They know there's a crime problem. You can't have a long weekend without kids getting shot and people, innocent bystanders. This is a terrible thing, and this is the result of liberal policies
I think Trump will back off this because he's going to be told by his attorney general he can't do this.
Yes, he's not. I don't think he'll do it, but it's good. He's trolling.
I get a little tired of my president trolling. Okay, that's for late night TV host.
Well, by the way,
Okay.
you know what he said in his own in the own press conference? He
What?
said, "I wish somebody would take my phone away sometimes."
Is that what Trump
That's
said?
what he said.
All right, we'll be back momentarily.
It's my turn.
Here is your host for My Turn, Don Wildmon.
In the normal pursuit of life, the average person of 70 has spent 3 years in education, 8 years in amusement, 6 years in eating, 11 years in working, 24 years in sleeping, 5.5 years in washing and dressing, 6 years in walking, 3 years in conversation, 3 years in reading, and 1/2 year in worshiping God. You know, we're all equal when it comes to the amount of time we have. Now, we may be different in every other aspect of life, but in time, we're all equal. Each of us has 24 hours every day. No more, no less. What we do with our time is determined by what we consider important. We have time for our business because we consider it important. We have time for recreation because we consider it important. We have time for the family because the family is important. The things we consider most important, we always have time for. The things we consider less important, we leave for a more convenient time. The person who doesn't have time for God has identically the same amount of time as the person who always has time for God. It's simply a matter of priorities, the things we consider most important. Never use a busy schedule as an excuse for ignorance in spiritual matters. If we consider God important enough, we'll find time for Him. The person who doesn't have time for the church doesn't consider the church very important, regardless of what he says. One person can drive for hours to get to a ball game, make plans for weeks in advance to be certain he has the time to go. But that same person can't block out a single hour to worship God or to drive 3 minutes to participate in the church worship service. It's simply a matter of what we consider more important. You know, I knew a person who spent 12 to 15 hours each week keeping his yard in immaculate condition, but he never took 60 minutes to check the condition of his soul. A beautiful yard was more important than a beautiful soul. It was simply a matter of priorities. One thing the Galilean does is to help us keep our priorities in proper perspective. He solved this matter of priorities one day on a mountainside above the Sea of Galilee. He said, "Seek first the kingdom of God." That one statement solves the problem of what is most important in life. What life needs is a proper balance, always making sure that the most important things are in the most important places.
This has been My Turn with Don Wildmon, a production of the American Family Association.
When you see trash in the media, submit it to 1millionmoms.com. Over the years, 1 million moms and our partners have improved advertising choices of programmers and content seen on TV. Just like you, 1 million moms want to protect little eyes and ears from the trash that could hurt them. So when you see trash in the media, visit 1millionmoms.com. Scroll down and look for the Submit Trash button.
Take it away!
1millionmoms.com.
For he has rescued us from the dominion of darkness and brought us into the kingdom of the Son he loves. Colossians 1:13.
American Family Radio. This is today's issues. Email your comments to comments@afr.net. Past broadcasts of today's issues are available for listening and viewing in the archive at afr.net. Now, back to more of today's issues.
Hey, welcome back, everybody, to today's issues on the American Family Radio Network. Thanks for listening to AFR. Tim, Ed, Fascist, and Fred are here with us today.
Oh, we got today's issues.
Fascist
Nothing
Wesley.
going on.
So Wesley, Fred, Tim, and Ed, thanks for listening to American Family Radio. Well, there's a big movie coming out that I wanted to make you aware of. If you haven't heard already, it's called Light of the World, and it's going to be opening in theaters this weekend. And joining us to talk about it is T. Ray Grandstaff. He is a film producer of Light of the World, one of them, and he's been on with us before. T. Ray, good morning to you.
Good morning, my friend. How are you today?
Doing well. How's life in Northwest Arkansas today? You there?
Oh, life is going well. I find myself in Fort Smith, and, things are going great. I mean, this is game time. You got the pregame jitters. You're looking forward to what's coming up this weekend, and we're so excited and thankful for friends like AFR being advocates for faith and for family, and in this case, a great film.
Okay, the movie is called Light of the World. It's animated. It's an animated film. I saw it about a month ago or 6 weeks ago here in Tupelo. T. Ray brought the film down, and we watched it at a theater and was very impressed. It's T. Ray, tell our listeners about the movie, and then we want to talk about how people can support the film.
Yes, thank you. It is a throwback movie to, I think, the best of the animated days. Some of the filmmakers that we partnered with directed Mulan, Mary Poppins Returns, Space Jam, A New Legacy, and Beauty and the Beast and Lion King. So we're talking about some of the best 2D hand-drawn animators in the world are working on this film, and it's beautiful. It glorifies Jesus. It tells the story of Jesus through a very unique perspective, through the eyes of Jesus's youngest disciple, John. So it's a coming-of-age story, and so you get to see all of the favorite parts of the Bible. And what people have told me is that after and during the film, they get to experience a Holy Spirit reminder, because God reminds us all that Jesus taught. And through this film, it really supports the biblical storyline. Plus, it's fun. It shows the beauty, the divinity, but also the humanity of Jesus. So we want to encourage people to support Light of the World coming out in theaters this weekend.
And how do people find out which theater closest to them it's going to be showing?
Yes, the best way to do that, you can even purchase tickets online at lightoftheworld.com. This film will be opening in 2,000 theaters throughout the U.S., 95 theaters in Canada, and 36 other countries. Now, what's unique about it, Brother Tim, is that we made it from a nonprofit perspective. And so that's very unique. And the reason we did that is we didn't want private investors because we weren't going to have any creative compromise. We wanted every dollar earned to go directly back into ministry. And so after theatrical and then in streaming, we're going to pull these revenue sources to be able to translate the film into 140 languages over the next 5 years to give away to global ministries and local ministries worldwide to be able to further and use in the hands as a tool for them to be able to reach the audience God's called them to do. And so our hope and our desire and what we're striving for by God's grace is that 1 billion people will come into contact through this film and get to know Jesus a little bit better.
1 billion, that would be, you're talking about over time, obviously, but that would be...
yes, over 5 years.
Okay, that would be 1/6 of the world's population if that were to happen.
Well, I'll just tell you, T. Ray, it's a great idea to have an animated film, because you're going to get a lot of parents who take their kids to see it. It's obviously going to have an impact on children, but the adults with them,
both at the same time.
It's kind of a sneak attack. Yeah. The adults are going to hear the gospel, and they're going to learn about Jesus, while they're taking their kids to see a kids movie, an animated film kind of thing. Even though I'm sure animation-wise, you'll get a lot of adults who like to see that kind of stuff anyway.
And trickery is a good virtue on the part of Christians. Ed, I think you're onto something here. No, I'm just.
I'll be wise as a serpent.
It's not trickery,
right?
You're trying to appeal to as many people as you can,
right.
And animation. Parents think, okay, I'll take my kid to see an animated movie about Jesus, and you're right. Then they see the story themselves.
Their guard is down.
And the sooner that you have an impact on a person's life, obviously, aka a child, the more likely you are for them to stay with Christianity as well.
Amen.
All right, folks, we're asking you to do something. Support this movie. It's called Light of the World. It's outstanding. I saw it, and it's an hour, and what is it, an hour, 20 minutes, something like that?
It's 83 minutes, yes.
Okay, well, you're being technical. I was just, I said an hour.
I had to pull that out.
Well, I said hour 20, and you went 83. Anyway, so the movie is going to be out. Is that Friday night or is it Saturday? When does it start?
Yes, it's Friday night, and in some areas it begins tomorrow night.
Okay.
But in 2,000 theaters, it starts Friday night, runs throughout the weekend. And what's so important is, after watching the first week of college football, good teams can lose their first game, but still come back and win the national championship.
Right.
But what's important for our friends and those followers of Jesus to understand, in this system, you've got one time to show up, and it's the opening weekend. And based on that opening weekend, we get to stay in theaters, week 2, 3, and 4. So our encouragement is to while others want to curse the darkness of talking about negative things, we want to hold up the light of Jesus. And one way to do that is to send a message opening weekend. We believe in faith films that truly matter. We believe in Jesus. And so let's make a statement opening weekend, this weekend. And you can do that by going to lightoftheworld.com and order your tickets.
All right, T. Ray. Well, we wish you the best for you. We pray for this movie to be seen, by, who knows, millions this weekend. We hope and pray, and that it ministers to
Amen.
People and changes lives. I know that's your wish and desire, and all the team that put this film together. Again, folks, the easiest way to find out where the movie is going to be showing near you, and it's 25. How many places? 2,000.
2,000.
2,000 theaters.
2,000 theaters, and it's in Canada as well. So if you want to know where the movie's showing near you, it's near you. If there's 2,000 openings, it's going to be somewhere near you. Go to lightoftheworld.com. lightoftheworld.com. All right, T. Ray, thanks so much for being on with us. We will certainly lift you up in our prayers.
Thank you, guys. Great to be with you.
Okay. Thank you. All right. That was T. Ray Grandstaff joining us from Fort Smith, Arkansas. And I did see them. You didn't get to see it when it was here, did you?
I did not.
Yeah, but I think your grandkids did.
They did.
Yeah.
I don't know what we were doing. I thought I was going to use, because I can't remember what we were doing.
You're probably out hunting narco terrorists.
I thought we were at a ball game for the kids. But
I don't know if y'all
remember.
We're picking up on this, but y'all are losing that one, so I wouldn't keep bringing it up. I wouldn't keep bringing it up.
I'm converting over to you. I just say bomb them.
Bomb them.
That's my attitude.
Leave me on an island.
It's hard for me to joke about that, because if you enter into terrorism, you forfeit your right to live.
If you're going back to this issue?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, by the way, you go to lightoftheworld.com and you type in your zip code. It's that simple. I mean,
I see it's playing near us.
Yeah, and it's playing in Tupelo.
Yep.
And of course, it gives you some extra ones that are a little further out, like Oxford, Mississippi, Memphis,
That's for
Tennessee,
us.
Germantown. Yeah, if you type in our zip code.
Right.
So you
right.
can type in yours. So, yeah, I mean, if it's in Tupelo, Mississippi, it's going to be.
It's 2,000 cities all over America. I want to go back to this Space Command for just a minute because that was a big story yesterday. It was one of the things President Trump talked about. Him moving the Space Command from Colorado Springs to Huntsville, Alabama.
That is correct.
The U.S. There's already a big NASA presence.
Very big.
In Huntsville. It's called Rocket City, right?
That's correct.
So did President Trump elaborate on that at all? Or
well,
is there a reason for moving it?
Yeah. He said, well, it was recommended. So just some little bit of history. During his first term in office, he talked about Space Command. He talked about having it in Huntsville, Alabama, because that was the recommendation from the U.S. Air Force, that Huntsville was the best place because they're so involved now in military research, et cetera, et cetera. Then Trump lost the election. Biden gets in, and Biden says, no, I think I'd rather put that in Colorado Springs. And Trump believes that was very political.
Of course, because the jobs go to a kind of blue or purple state,
yes,
rather than a red state.
Yes. So Trump indicated very early on in this second term that he planned to bring Space Command to Huntsville. He made the formal announcement yesterday. So it means 30,000 jobs there.
Wow.
They are well established in the technical field. They're doing things
aerospace,
right.
Absolutely.
You name. They're developing drones, all of this sort of thing. So it is a more natural home for what they want to do. And one of the things that was mentioned yesterday during this news conference, Pete Hegseth, our defense secretary, was there. He said the next war is going to be won in the air. Mm-hmm. That's where the shooting, the altercation between people and weapons is going to be. Mm-hmm. So it just makes sense because there's so much research in that field, in the aerospace field, going on in Huntsville already. Redstone is there. They have been going, and this has been going on for decades now, developing the lunar module.
I had a role in that. I had a role in that one.
Developing the lunar module?
Yeah, I don't talk about it much.
Okay.
just on the air with millions of people.
Well, it's just a side gig I got going on, But go ahead.
Anyway, it's a big deal for Huntsville. Huntsville is somebody told me it's the largest city in Alabama now.
It's the largest city proper in Alabama. Birmingham, still the greater Birmingham area is larger, but Huntsville is the second largest city in Alabama. And a lot of, as I say, a lot of engineering, a lot of attachment to the space industry, the NASA and so forth. You know what Jeff Foxworthy says? You know?
Do it in his voice. Do it in his voice.
Huh? There's two words that don't go together. Two words that don't go together. NASA and Alabama. That's what Jeff Foxworthy. I'm not dissing on Alabama.
Right.
He did it.
Jeff Foxworthy, in his uppity Georgia attitude, is dissing on his Southern brothers.
Yeah.
You know, when he says
Some
that.
people say.
Some people.
No, that is a joke.
That's before some people say. That's what it was.
That is a joke Jeff Foxworthy uses, though. Two words that don't go together, NASA and Alabama.
But that is right, what Fred's talking about. Drones, and especially in space. Modern militaries can't do anything without satellites. Mm-hmm. And the Chinese have done a lot of work with anti-satellite weaponry. So all that, when we talk about Space Force, having satellite-based lasers that can knock out ICBMs once they're launched, all that kind of stuff, that is the future. And President Trump was right to develop Space Force. A lot of this probably goes back to the Reagan era in terms of vision. And we don't want to get, I don't know if we are on par with the Chinese in terms of that. I think probably we have our U.S. military probably has a lot of technology that we don't know about. I hope so. But we've got to keep up and hopefully surpass the Chinese to possibly stave off a war with them.
All right, you're listening to Today's Issues. That's the name of this show on the American Family Radio Network. Tim, Ed, Wesley, and Fred. Next story, Fred.
Well, just for a moment, before the break, we were talking about what Trump had to say about sending military into Chicago. And, of course, the governor, Pritzker, has said we don't have a crime problem in Chicago that warrants this. Trump did say, he said, I wish Pritzker would get on the phone and invite me there, and I'd be there to help him. Chicago, there are residents in Chicago who say their governor and the mayor of Chicago are lying to the American people. Now, that's how they put it. And here's a bit of an example of a Chicago resident who says, there's no question, we have a huge crime problem in Chicago. Cut 2.
The fact of seeing seniors getting killed, our children getting killed, mothers getting killed, young men getting killed, and we are not getting any help at all. It's starting to become normalized. We're dealing with a progressive Democratic gang. I call them, they are the real gangster disciples, the city of Chicago Democratic machine. This machine has been like this for a very long time, and no one has ever challenged it except in 2023 when 22 million illegal immigrants came over from the previous administration and 70,000 were placed in the city of Chicago. They are trying to make the city of Chicago a socialist, communist city, and it simply cannot be that.
Well, that's we talk a lot on this program about the amount of crime in the inner cities of America. We also note the high prevalence, percentage-wise, of young black males that commit these crimes. But you know what? Listening to that lady, the black community is under siege. There's a lot of innocent black people in these big cities who are just victims. They're either victims or they're victims waiting to happen. Mm-hmm. And they listen. You hear this woman talk about adults, about elderly being victimized, mothers and children being shot by with drive-by shootings or criminal activity. They feel it more than anybody, and the Democratic Party better watch out. It would be a sea change, that's for sure. But they may allow so much crime to go on that they start losing the black vote, because these are people who want their kids to get educated. Why isn't the Democratic Party in favor of school choice? They want their kids to be family oriented. They want them to be safe. And if you can't, and they want them to have grocery stores. They want them to have drug stores that stay open in their neighborhoods and don't shut down because of all the theft. We're talking about the basic necessities of life. And if Democratic policies are seen as taking that away, you could start losing the black vote. That's a long shot, but stranger things have happened.
I think in general elections or even statewide elections, that may be true. And I think that's where you could actually see a pushback towards the Democrats. But in the inner cities, just based on what I'm seeing and what I've followed over the last couple of years, I think that is a hamster wheel that only repeats itself. I think all the decent people, a lot of the people that I say decent, meaning they understand what's going on, they don't live there, they work there. And so the reasons your numbers are so high of population is because you got people working there. I think a lot of the people that would otherwise switch their vote from Democrat to Republican in order to change the election of a inner city, they don't live there. And so I think the inner cities are, I don't know what would fix that, to be honest with you. That's my opinion. But I do think what you're saying has been applying to states. I think states, you have seen a couple states that go from blue to purple to red because of one of many reasons, which is the inner city crime.
Yeah.
So.
All right, talking about crime, would you believe that in our country right now there is at least one college that has a course starting this fall, and this is the official name of the course: How to Steal.
I wouldn't believe that.
How
at all
to steal. This is the Eugene Lang College of Liberal Arts Sociology Department. It's in New York. Tuition there is just a mere $60,000 a year. I am going to read you the official course description. This field-based seminar explores the politics, ethics, and aesthetics of theft. In a world where accumulation is sacred, dispossession is routine, and the line between private property and public good is drawn in blood. Students will critically examine what it means to steal, from whom, for whom, and why. Through site visits and fieldwork in places where capital is hoarded and value is contested. Corporate storefronts, grocery chains, museums, libraries, banks, and cultural institutions. We will ask, is it possible to steal back what was already stolen? What does theft look like under capitalism, colonialism, and in everyday life? When is theft survival, protest, or care? And when is it violence, appropriation, or harm? Readings will span critical theory, political economy, abolitionist thought, and radical histories of expropriation and redistribution. Students will produce field journals, collective mappings, and speculative strategies for redistributing wealth, knowledge, and beauty. This is not a course in petty crime. It is a study in moral ambiguity, radical ethics, and imaginative justice.
Moral ambiguity.
Imaginative justice. That sounds like a soap opera.
Yeah, it sounds like they're saying, hey, just imagine who you can steal from and then go do it.
And feel good about it.
And feel good about it.
Tomorrow, next week on Imaginative Justice.
That's straight Marxism.
Where's that happening?
This is Eugene Lang College of Liberal Arts Sociology. I invite you to Google this course, How to Steal. Fox did a feature on this morning. Apparently this college is not the only one with wacky courses. But this is teaching students that if you feel you're being taken advantage of by that evil capitalism, then you have a moral right to go ahead and steal.
And it's a form of political protest. Listen, this is what they're teaching in a lot of these liberal arts schools or the liberal arts departments within schools. They're teaching this garbage. It is preparing kids to be Marxists and socialists who believe that if you overthrow the republic, we'll get true justice. And what they'll find out is you can vote your way into communism, but you got to fight your way out.
And is it any surprise that this college is in New York City, where a gentleman by the last name of Mamdani is going to win the mayoralty race there?
That's a good point.
And this is his platform.
Yeah.
This is his platform.
Well, if some, and then I'll let Wesley jump in here. If we're going to do this experiment and make some city a laboratory, let's do New York City because it's going to be fun to watch if you're outside of it.
So I had a question. So where are they? Where are we on the Mamdani? Is that going to? When's the election?
The last poll that I saw, he is way out in front of the other three.
Yeah.
The current mayor is like down at single digit in the polls.
Is that Adams?
Adams, yeah. So Mamdani, if the polls are true and accurate, he is going to win this in November. And I tell you what, the millionaires who live in New York have got to be a little bit nervous.
And the corporations.
Yes.
Listen, he wants government-run grocery stores, and this is the part of statism, whether it's fascism or communism, that people don't understand. Companies can't compete with government-subsidized grocery stores.
That's right.
All these grocery stores are going to, these companies are going to leave.
For them, though?
Tax revenue. That's what they'll start off doing, but
until they run out.
Until they run out.
Oh.
What's his name? What's his whole name?
Zohan Hamdani.
Hamdani.
How can a guy named Zohan get elected mayor?
Well, that's a superhero name. Let's be honest. I mean, that is.
Yep.
All right, we will return with more of today's issues after this short time out. We'll see you back here in a few minutes.
The views and opinions expressed in this broadcast may not necessarily reflect those of the American Family Association or American Family Radio.
Faith, family, freedom. American Family Radio.
Sometimes being an insider means you understand the joke that only certain ones really know. Other times, it gets you into exclusive places. As an AFA insider, you'll get information about issues and policies that can dramatically impact our families and our Christian rights, and you won't have to travel to D.C. or even dress up to get it. Find out more and sign up at afa.net/activism.
This is American Family Radio, a listener-supported ministry of the American Family Association.
For American Family News, I'm Bronson Woodruff. President Trump revealed on Tuesday the U.S. military conducted an airstrike on a boat that he says was filled with Tren de Aragua gang members trying to smuggle illegal drugs into the U.S. The president released a video of the strike on Truth Social, saying the strike occurred while they were in international waters and that it resulted in 11 deaths. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth says this strike was meant to send a clear message to cartels who are looking to do the same, and dismissed claims by critics that the video is fake during an interview on Fox and Friends.
We knew exactly who was in that boat, we knew exactly what they were doing, and we knew exactly who they represented. And that was Tren de Aragua, a narco-terrorist organization designated by the United States trying to poison our country with illicit drugs.
The president has claimed the Venezuelan government is controlling the Tren de Aragua gang, something contradicted by a declassified U.S. intelligence assessment. Israel is going ahead with the next stage of the war with Hamas. Fox's Greg Palkett reports from Tel Aviv.
Officials addressed recently called up reservists as they ramp up operations in and around Gaza City. IDF Chief Zamir said the invasion of Gaza City has begun. There had been fears that due to low morale, not enough troops would show up. Meanwhile, Israel was racked today with what was called a day of disruption, with barricades set, public buildings attacked, all by protesters calling for the end of the war and the release of the remaining hostages.
Police said a Houston man is now charged with murder in the fatal shooting of an 11-year-old boy who was out with friends ding-dong ditching. It's a prank where you ring the doorbell of somebody's home and run away before they can answer the door. The 42-year-old man is identified by authorities as Gonzalo Leon Jr. He was taken into custody and booked into the Harris County Jail in Houston. According to police, the boy is identified as Julian Guzman. He'd been out ringing doorbells as a prank with some friends late Saturday. A report says the boy was shot in the back as the group was running away. The Department of Justice looks to block Illinois from giving financial aid to undocumented students. Fox's Jeff Manasso reports.
The Justice Department filing a complaint in the Southern District of Illinois against state Democrats and state universities, trying to block Illinois from enacting a controversial law that gives student financial aid, in-state tuition rates, and scholarships to illegal immigrants, in what Parents' Rights and Education's Suzanne Gallagher calls
a slap in the face to parents, residents, citizens.
A law the DOJ says violates federal law by unconstitutionally discriminating against U.S. citizens. A spokesman for Governor J.B. Pritzker's office calls the DOJ's actions another blatant attempt to strip Illinoisans of resources and opportunities. In Chicago, Jeff Manasso, Fox News.
China is having a major military parade today, displaying weapons and military units, some of them being displayed for the first time. Marching in the parade were traditional People's Liberation Army units from the Navy and Army, but also new ones like the Cyberspace Unit. The new unit is in charge of cybersecurity defense measures, according to the official Xinhua news agency. One academic expert says the reason why university elites are settling anti-Semitic disputes is really quite simple. AFN's Bob Kellogg explains.
Brown and Penn have already settled their disputes with the Trump administration, and the Daily Signal reports other major universities are expected to follow suit. Jay Green of the Heritage Foundation says the reason for the settlements is not difficult to understand.
some people think that the university leaders who are making these agreements with the Trump administration are acting out of cowardice or behaving mysteriously, but it actually makes a lot of sense for universities to settle. The first and most important reason why they're settling is they're guilty.
He says another factor is that the trustees want to settle to enable them to implement reforms they have desired for a long time.
Where they're legally responsible for discriminatory behavior, but they don't have the authority to stop it, either by controlling discipline or controlling hiring. That has been left to groups of radical faculty.
He says trustees prefer to blame the Trump administration as the reason they are settling in order to deflect the anger from uncompromising faculty. I'm Bob Kellogg.
For American Family News, I'm Bronson Woodruff.
God is at work and He's calling His people to rise in truth. Truth Rising is a powerful new documentary from Focus on the Family and the Colson Center. See how ordinary Christians choose courage in a culture that needs truth. Watch Truth Rising starting September 5th and find out how you can be a part of the change and become an agent of restoration. Sign up at truthrising.com. That's truthrising.com.
Today's Issues continues on AFR with your host, Tim Wildmon, President of the American Family Association.
Everybody to Today's Issues on the American Family Radio Network. Tim, Ed, Wesley, and now Steve Paisley, Jordahl.
Good morning, everybody.
The bar from the 90s. Steve's in the house.
It's a bar from the 90s.
Whoop, whoop.
The little Arsenio Hall.
Raise the roof.
That's the first one I actually can follow you on when you go back in time.
Oh, to the 90s?
Usually you go back further to where I have no idea and I'm left out of the conversation.
Oh, yeah. Well, isn't that where...
I do remember that one.
That's in the house. I just remember that expression coming along back in the 90s.
And then raise the roof.
Raise the roof. That's Ed's thing. He can even do the hand signals, the hand motions.
Without messing it up.
Raise the roof. That's Ed's thing.
I'm cool.
So yeah. He doesn't dance, but he can dance with Raise the Roof.
Now,
I was never a good dancer.
Now, I'm still hearing people in their 40s and 50s. I'm post that now, but they still use the expression, give them a, quote, shout out. End of quote.
Give a shout out.
Now, is that
Arsenio?
Is that maintaining its relevancy, or is shout out?
Just want to give a shout out.
Does that outdate you?
No, it's still there.
We're old men, so we still use it, but I don't know about it.
People say I want to give a shout out. You know what I mean?
Was that an Arsenio Hall thing? When did that
about
come in?
that era?
If he did Raise the Roof in the room and a shout out, man, that guy that guy is a cultural wave.
He lives on.
All of it, all by
I don't know whatever happened to him.
I don't know either.
Arsenio,
the haircut, man.
Arsenio Hall. All right. Good morning, Steve.
Good morning, everybody.
What's first on your agenda, Steve?
There was a pretty solid and important court ruling that went on in the District of Columbia District Court. And it's basically the United States government was trying to break up Google over its Chrome browser, saying it had a monopoly. About 90% of all of the searches were being done by Chrome, and Chrome was paying the service providers to put them at the top of the list. The government said that's wrong. They shouldn't do that. So Judge Amit P. Mehta, no relationship to the Meta tech company of the U.S. District Court, said, okay, you don't have to sell off Google, Chrome, which is what the government wanted, but you do have to start sharing more info, and we're going to restrict the way that you pay browsers or you pay internet service providers to put your browser at the top of the list. It's basically opening up the competition to search engines like DuckDuckGo or Firefox and that kind of thing. So it's actually one of the very first rulings of the kind of how to dispel tech monopolies in 20 years. This is the first time that they've done a Ma Bell breakup type thing with tech companies. So this is kind of landmark in a way.
Well, I'm in favor of competition, and I do think that there is sometimes a problem with companies who have aggregated so much and brought it inside the walls. Sometimes they create something, and then nobody else can really break in. Now, I'm not an economic whiz.
Oh yeah, you are. Don't try to sell yourself short, Ed.
So in terms of breaking up, monopolies, trust busting and all that goes all the way back to the early 1900s. Yeah. I generally think it's a good idea to open up. Now, I don't know the specifics about this as you're explaining it. I understand it. 15 minutes from now, I probably would not be able to explain it, but that does make sense. Google is very, very dominant.
What's the difference between Google search engine and Google Chrome?
Okay, so Google is the name of the company that owns the search engine Chrome. Chrome is that if you look on the bottom of your tray of your computer, there's a Chrome icon down there.
Is that it?
Yes.
That's the browser, right?
The browser, right.
That's where you do your searching.
Is that Chrome?
From
it might not be Chrome.
It's and Google is not only the company, but it's usually referred to as the search engine. But
here's how dominant they've been. They named the search after the company. You Google something, like you use Kleenex when you're it's not just tissue, it's Kleenex. That's how good they were at marketing. That's how good Google is at marketing. They developed it and everything, but they're getting a little too powerful. They're kind of shutting out competition, and it's not being fair, they say. So, and this is probably going to be in the courts for years. It's going to go to the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
And there's other cases that are coming up that could.
Okay, when I open my iPhone up, I got Apple, Bing, Google, Yahoo, and I think if you open them up, there's another one that says like DuckDuckGo.
Yeah, DuckDuckGo.
Safari maybe.
Safari is connected with Apple.
Yeah, Safari's not a search engine. Am I right?
It's a browser. So that's how you access the internet is through a browser. Safari does have a search feature. If you that's kind of the default browser for Apple products.
So if I hit on Apple right there, is that a search engine? I thought a search engine is like Brave.
I think those are all search engines, including Safari.
DuckDuckGo, Google,
right.
Yahoo. Those are search engines, right? Safari is a browser, which is different, right?
I don't think there's a difference.
There isn't?
No, there's not.
Okay, so Safari is a search engine.
Yes.
Well, the reason they get the term browser is that's how you browse the internet. Now, you don't have to use a search feature, though, is what I'm saying. You don't have to use a search feature to go to a website.
I think Steve's going to find out for us.
A web browser like Chrome or Safari is a software application used to access and display web content, while a search engine like Google or Bing is a website or service that helps you find information online by crawling and indexing vast amounts of web. Yeah. One's an application, one's a website.
There are certain things in life.
I just want to know what the point of this.
There's no. I'm with you. You don't want to divide your friendship or family life over what a browser is.
No. Not again.
There's something else I could say about this conversation right here, but I'm not going to.
Right.
Because I want to move on. Okay.
I think you still have a point that you hadn't got to, though.
I do, but if I make that point, it leads to y'all, especially you, saying no, and I don't want to do that right now. We've
already had enough conversation.
There are more important things in the world to talk about,
like whether we should blow up boats in the
international middle of the
waters.
Gulf of America.
Right.
Go ahead,
Can we
Steve.
talk about immigration taking
over
we
can't get enough of that.
An X feed called Irish Statistics has put out 25 to 34-year-old age group in Ireland is now around 59% ethnic Irish.
All right, start over on that one again, because I don't think people caught that. Go ahead.
The 25 to 34-year-old age group in Ireland is now about 59% ethnic Irish. Everything else is immigrants. That would be like 41% immigrant.
Wow.
It is currently dropping. The ethnic Irish are dropping by 2.3% per year.
Why is that?
Because
they're not having babies.
Not having babies.
Not having babies.
Why not? They're Catholics.
Well,
Ireland's probably
Catholics in name only.
But yes, and most people, when they don't have babies, it's not really a religious issue to them. I think it's a kind of a money issue.
Money, or they don't want to be bothered with children.
Either of those.
Says one commentator, replacement migration is the greatest threat to the entire West currently faces. Elon Musk chimes in, low birth rate numbers is the greatest threat, followed closely by migration. There will be no West if this continues, according to Elon Musk.
Now, in the European countries, a lot of those are Muslims, right?
Yes. Well, almost all of the
immigrants.
All of the immigration issues, I think, currently are Muslim. There's not there is a lot of Hispanic immigration into this country, but it's not as threatening to take over governments and police forces and such.
Well, because the fact of the matter is, if you're talking about the United States and our culture,
right?
We have much more in common with people from Latin American countries. Obviously, there are some cultural differences in terms of language and food, but we share a Christian heritage with Latin America. But Muslims moving into Europe, first of all, it's the age-old dream of Islam is to conquer Europe.
Mm-hmm.
But they do not share Western values for the most part. They may want to go to Europe to get a better life, but they do not.
They want to go to Europe to take over.
Well, I'm just saying.
It's a planned jihad.
Okay.
That's what they call it.
Well, I'm not sure individual Muslims are thinking that. Certainly imams and
a lot of them are thinking they want to go to a better life.
I want to go to a better life. But if they are practicing Islam, they cannot embrace Western values. Islam does not allow it.
Right.
Islam doesn't even allow democracy. They don't even believe people should vote because Allah makes the decisions and you follow it through Sharia law. So Europe is in grave danger.
This story is saying that there's in probably 30 or less years there's not going to be any Irishmen.
Yeah, less than that.
Yeah, there's going to be no more, very few. They'll be in the minority at least in their own country.
Right.
Because
at that point, the majority can vote. Massive change.
You follow wishes.
Yes.
The same thing in Japan. And Japan's not because of people immigrating in and blending in with the native Japanese people. The Japanese are not having babies either.
Right.
This is a problem in many places around the world.
And Minneapolis, for example, too, I would say. It's assimilation, right? It's the people come into a country, you want them to assume the values of that country. We have a right in the United States to bring in people that are going to build our value as Americans with our American values, our language, our culture. We build that up, and you contribute to that, you're welcome in. But if you're going to come in and do an enclave, and you're going to start taking over and changing our culture, we really should have a right to say you don't belong here.
You know, the irony is here that it was the Irish that immigrated here to the U.S. As much as any other group of people. Do you call them an ethnicity? I'm not sure. Back during the potato famine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, was that late 1800s and early 19? I think maybe late 1800s.
The Irish came in to New England. That's why
and Chicago, New York.
Yeah, that's why Boston's called the Celtics.
1845 to 1849 was the Irish potato famine, and that triggered massive immigration
into the U.S. Right.
And the Italians came after that, and growing up, this is a
tomato
real thing.
Famine, didn't they?
Tomato
in Italy?
Famine.
Was that not right?
That would be catastrophic.
Yeah.
Okay. And I remember growing up and my Italian side of the family talking about their ancestors coming in the late 1800s, early 1900s, and trying to get jobs in major cities like Chicago and New York and Boston. And the Irish were well rooted into the power structures of those cities, like the police departments, and they would hang out signs that said Nina, no Italians need apply. So that
happened?
That happened. That's right.
But evidently the Italians cracked the system.
They got in.
That's how the mafia started.
I
was hesitating on whether
waiting.
I didn't want to say that.
smirking.
That just came to my mind. But that was inappropriate. Okay, that was inappropriate ethnic stereotyping, and I apologize.
I saw the smirk on your face, and I thought, here it comes. And by the way, the Irish are treated that way first. Those signs.
They had their own gangs.
No, the no Irish need apply.
Oh yeah, when they came over,
and then they did
Anglos
then
were
they did
kicking
the
them out.
Italians, yeah.
I said Anglos. I don't know.
So for our Irish listeners, and what's funny is my Uncle Al's Italian. He married an Irish woman. They wound up getting divorced years later, but that was a fiery relationship.
Irish Italian combo.
Yep.
There. All right, you're listening to Today's Issues on American Family Radio, but the birth rate is being way down in Europe and some Asian countries. In the United States and Canada even is a serious problem. And so I don't, who knows? We may not have any Irishmen in 50 years. Who are these people? We may be studying them, studying the lost country of Ireland.
I remember writing some articles for our magazine, now known as The Stand, back in the 2007, 2008 time where there were people saying there may not be any Russians or Italians because their birth rates were so low that in a generation or two. And by the way, what this means is if a man and a woman have to have two kids to replace themselves. That's what they call it, the replacement rate. And
then a tenth of one to keep the momentum.
A tenth is 2.1 is considered the replacement rate, and that covers infant mortality. That 0.1. But so if two parents have one kid after one generation, whatever that ethnic group is,
it's diminished by half.
It's cut in half. And if you do that again for another generation, you keep having the ethnic group.
Why do you think? What's the reason for that? Ultimately, maybe we already talked about this. What's the reason for the lower? Well, the birth rates keep going down.
The explanations are secularism. So you lose touch with God. You don't believe in God anymore, so you stop believing in the future. You stop believing in self-sacrifice to give to your children. There is the money aspect of how much money it takes to raise kids. And there was one more. I can't recall what the explanation was, but there were two or three explanations for when countries become modern and start enjoying life. There is less likelihood that the people will have kids because you have to spend the money you're using to enjoy life to raise kids.
Let me ask you this. But the fact that so many people live together without being married is, if they put a kid into the occasion, is that like a glue that's going to stick those two people together without being able to? Because there's always an escape hatch, right? If you're not married, I can always leave. And I think that's part of the reason why people don't get married. They're going to try it out. They may be together 10 years, and then all of a sudden they grow apart. And, well, we're not married anyway. But if they have a kid, then they're stuck. And it's a glue that holds a family together. And so I think
it has the
cohabitation
is
probably on
those are probably all valid. Having kids used to be a little bit more of an impediment to getting quick divorces, no-fault divorces. I'm not sure that's true anymore because at least some percentage of these divorces.
It's not true anymore.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just saying it's not. Hey, I was going to ask you about your third one. Would that be the lack of human life or care or value of life?
That could be.
Third reason why the decline in
He
birth
mentioned
rate?
two. The first one you mentioned was, I think, by far the number one cause, but there are obviously other ones as well, and I think the value of life. And then you look at the abortion in European countries.
I wrote the article 18 years ago, and I can't recall all the reasons that the experts said. But
well, I think having the birth control pill.
Yeah,
that was a game changer too.
Yeah.
Huh? And then the abortion pill now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
all those
I do think secularism, that is the loss of respect for God. God says, to be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth.
It used to be the only commandment that the world would obey, but not anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
And and by and large, they devalue family. They devalue that kids are a burden instead of a blessing.
Yeah, if all you got's the here and now, why do you want to have kids to burden you down?
I remember what the third one was.
What?
It was concern for the environment.
Oh, yeah.
And then also, so this was in with that one, it was also concerned for the state of the world. Why should we bring kids into a messed up world? But the environmental concern, where the overpopulation warnings were, you can't have a lot of kids because it'll destroy the climate.
Yeah,
that's what it was.
All right, next story, Steve.
All right, free speech is in peril in Great Britain. They have arrested a British comedian.
Who has?
The British police, the British government, has taken a comedian off of a plane. He was going to leave, but they arrested him for anti-trans tweets. His name is Graham Linehan. He is the comedy force behind, I guess there's a program called Father Ted. I'm not sure if I know, I'm familiar with it, but some of our audience might be. Anyway, that's what he's most known for. But he was putting out some tweets that the government considered anti-trans, saying that trans activists, men are women, men are men, women are women, and that kind of thing. And they arrested him and put him in prison for it. And
they arrested him at the airport, didn't they?
Yes, they pulled him off of a plane.
This is in Britain.
Yes. And so Nigel Farage was talking about this, and I want you to hear what he had to say. This has got 7.
What is happening in my once great country is truly, truly terrifying. Free speech is being impinged upon in every single way. Satire is now almost banned. Well, isn't that what human beings are? Aren't we allowed to challenge each other? So this is really, really bad. It's really bad news.
This is shocking what's happening in Great Britain.
For tweets. For, quote, anti-trans tweets.
Now, did he, not that any of this matters from a moral or ethical standpoint of being arrested, but did he tweet while he was even in the country? Or did he tweet before he went to the country? You know what I mean? Like, where was he physically located when he tweeted?
He was leaving the country when he was arrested, so I'm probably he was in the country.
Yeah, that's just.
But now, hasn't the UK threatened Americans?
Yes.
Who tweet things in this country? But they say, if you come to our country, we'll arrest you over here for it.
Yeah. It's ridiculous. Piers Morgan is putting himself a little bit on the line.
He is.
And you with this. This is from June, but it just came to my attention. This is Piers Morgan with a couple of a trans athlete and a lawyer. I just want to let you hear this, cut 11.
Sarah, why do you want to be a cheat? I mean, seriously. Why do you want to be a cheat? That's what you're doing. You're cheating.
Cheating? No,
yes.
That's very disrespectful. I think that's
you know what, Dr. Webley? It really isn't. It cuts to the heart of the debate. It is cheating. It is knowingly using a superior biology from birth to beat women who are born with female bodies. It is cheating.
I'm not a scientist.
And it's time to call it out for what it is. And Dr. Webley, the idea you're a doctor and don't think that this is about science is breathtaking to me. Breathtaking. Of course it's about
human
science.
Being. I'm a doctor, I'm a human being, I'm a compassionate person.
What's that got to do with it? Why aren't you compassionate to women who are losing gold medals to men?
I don't understand why you have this both of you have this huge thing where we have to, not one single woman must be affected by these terrible trans people. What about inclusion? We are living in a world where we want everybody
it's got nothing to do with inclusion. This is where the trouble starts.
That's a brilliant takedown.
Yeah, he dunked on her.
Yeah.
which is okay.
Sarah Weiss is a trans pickleball
man
player.
dunked on the woman.
Yeah,
we do have
pickleball.
We do have an announcement we got to make before the end of the program.
Okay.
This weekend, I start my podcast on AFR called National Security Military Force.
Oh, you got me on that one.
Saturday
I did
at
too. I was thinking, man, where are you finding the
Saturday
time to do a podcast?
at 5 a.m. in the morning.
That's when you
you need to
start your weekend
with your kids. Yeah, 5 o'clock
in the background.
All right, we're out of
got me.
We're out of time. We thank you for yours, Tim, Ed, Wesley. Yes, I thought I spoke in third person there.
Fred,
Brent Creeley, our producer, Steve, and Fred. See you back here tomorrow, everybody.